Welcome, everybody, to the Dakota Podcasting Experience. My name is Tony Tubes, and I'm going to be your host for the Dakota Podcasting Experience. And this is our first episode. I'm pretty excited about it. And this just kind of introduce you to us. I'm a local comedian. I live in Redfield, South Dakota. This podcast is going to cover a lot of what happens in northeastern South Dakota, as well as, area news up in North Dakota and down by Sioux Falls and Rapid City and all over places. We're slowly getting everything going here. If you want to hit us up on email at all, our email is DakotaPodcasting@gmail.com, and our Twitter is @DakotaPodcast. So yeah, hit us up on those. I'll probably make a Facebook page as well. But yeah, this is just to talk about, things that are happening in the area and my thoughts on things in the area. And I'm just letting you guys know right now. I swear a little bit, so I apologize for that. I'm going to try to put my best grandma voice on, that grandma voice that we all have, My sister she'd sit there and she'd be like, "Hey, Tony, how's it going, blah, blah, blah." And then all of a sudden the phone would ring. "Hi, Grandma." So I'm not really like that. This podcast is basically because I love South Dakota. There's a lot of things that I wish that I really wish we could change about South Dakota. There's a lot of things that are behind in the times. And as our new governor, I really wanted to give her a shot. I really wanted to say, hey, let's just see what she can do. But already it's only February, and she's already making a lot of really, really weird choices and a lot of really poor choices and honestly some absurd choices. So I'm going to talk about that a little bit, probably not today. But I'll talk about that here and there. We'll see upcoming events. Let me know if you have an event you want me to plug. I'll be happy to plug it on the show for you. And if you want to become a sponsor of the Dakota Podcasting Experience, you let me know. And like I said, you can hit us up at DakotaPodcasting@gmail.com or on Twitter @DakotaPodcasting or Dakota Podcast. But today, I want to talk about all the frickin' snow we've been getting. Holy crap, that is a lot of snow. A lot of snow. Oh, by the way, I wanted to all the people in the area who used to live in the area or still live in the area, check out my old Food and Fuel cup. Whatever. That's awesome. But I love it around here, except for the snow. The snow can really take a flying leap, if you ask me. And I remember it was Christmas Day, and we were sitting there going, "Oh, can we just have a little bit of snow just for Christmas? I mean, why can't it just snow for Christmas?" Jesus. My God. If you are not from here and you're listening to this podcast and you don't get snow where you are, we've gotten, I cannot remember this much snow since, what was it, the winter of 96 or 97, something like that. I remember my dad standing out front of our house on North First Street in Aberdeen, a block north of Scotty's. He was standing there. There's a picture of him with the shovel, had this great big grin on his face, but he was standing next to a snow pile that was bigger than him. And now I got drifts outside that are as tall as my roof. So we live in a really shitty spot in Redfield. We live right on the border, like right north of us is a huge cornfield. So when that wind kicks up, our house is like enveloped. This is our first winter in this house, and we got to do some stuff this next year to try to stave that off. But man, I was taking my kids to Redfield School today. This morning, 2/27/19. And this is not a slam on Redfield School at all. This isn't really even a slam on parents. It's more or less a suggestion. But I see a lot of kids these days out there running around in shorts and a t-shirt. Like, I see way too many. And if you are having troubles getting your kids clothing for the winter, there are certain places that you can reach out to for that. And reach out to me, and I will try to get some clothing together for your children. But it's just ridiculous to see how many kids out there are wearing shorts and t-shirts or, one or the other. And it's ridiculous. And honestly, like, I know that teenagers, I have 4 children. I know that teenagers, and I used to be one, are like, God, Mom, you're so stupid. I don't want to wear it, and it's like pulling fingernails to get them to wear the appropriate clothing. Then I rewind myself back to Holgate Junior High, when it was still Holgate Junior High, back when I used to go there, like 96, 97, something like that. And they made me turn my South Park t-shirt inside out. It was a Cartman shirt, and he was saying, I love my cheesy poofs. And they made me turn my shirt inside out because it was inappropriate. Well, what about, that happened. It still happens to this day. Like, schools still censor kids' clothing and stuff like that. Well, here's my thing. I think that schools need to have a dress code in that regard, just in the ways of winter, in the ways of dressing for the weather. I honestly think that the schools need to start stepping in. If the parents can't do it or are unwilling to do it, then the schools need to step in and start saying, no, you guys need to start wearing the appropriate clothes for the weather out there. Because if you think about it, what happens if they have a fire drill? Or not even a drill. What if they have an actual fire emergency and the fire crew's got to come? Okay, this kid is fine walking from mommy's car to the front door of the school. He's not going to leave there for the next 8 hours. That's fine. Okay, yeah, he'll be fine. But what happens if there's a fire drill or if there's an actual fire and these kids are stuck outside for 15, 20, 30 minutes in 4 degrees, -10, wind chills that are kicking down to, in the -20s and 30s and stuff like that. If there's a real emergency, they're not going to be able to take those kids anywhere else. They might be able to, like in Redfield, the gym is kind of separate from the school and everything, so they could possibly go over to the gym, yes. But we're talking about other schools and everything like that don't have the capabilities of taking their kids anywhere else that's warm in case of an emergency like that. And I just think that the school would be culpable. Like, people would be sitting there saying, oh, well, there's at least one parent, the McDonald's coffee mom that's going to sue the school because her kid come home with hypothermia or the kid come home with frostbite. The school should be sitting here saying, you need to dress appropriately for school or you need to go home. Like, honestly, that is what my stance on it would be. And I'm not coming down on Redfield School. Redfield School is a wonderful school, at least for my kids. I love it. But I'm just talking about kids' safety and kids' well-being. And if schools are able to say, okay, you can't wear spaghetti straps because it's inappropriate, or you can't wear this shirt because it's got this on it and it's inappropriate. I understand that. But at the same time, you need to talk about appropriateness of clothing in the weather that we have around here. Because the weather we have around here, what is like one of those slogans? I grew up watching South Dakota TV at Howard Hedger Elementary School, where they were sitting there going, if you don't like the weather in South Dakota, just wait a minute, it'll change. Yeah, it could be fucking 10 degrees outside right now, but in an hour, the wind could pick up like that, and all of a sudden it's -25. It's ridiculous. And these kids, my kids, I don't care how much they fight with me, they're going to wear the appropriate clothing. And even if they're high school students and they don't want to wear snow pants or anything like that, fine. Okay, you want to go to school and be cold, fine. But you need to have pants on. You need to cover your skin. At the very least, you need to go home and put a sweater on, a hoodie on, a coat on. Wear pants. Don't wear shorts. Oh, but I have this and that after school. Well, take your shorts and your backpack with you, little buddy. It's ridiculous. I worry about children, and around here it just seems like parents are so cavalier in a lot of the things that they do, say, oh, kids will be kids and boys will be boys. Like, we literally had neighbors at one point in time that were thinking it was fine to let their kids run around with hatchets and golf clubs and stuff like that in the neighborhood, and they come down on me for saying something about it. And it's like, you're being too cavalier here, man. Crazy shit happens. Redfield School named their basketball court after a kid that died from a four-wheeling accident. I'm not saying that it's bad on the parents or anything like that, but shit can happen. Bad shit can happen. When you're having fun, when you're not having fun, bad shit can happen. And it's just, we need to be prepared for this stuff, man. It's just, consequences for your actions. And in weather like we're having, man, this is a terrible winter. And if climate change has any gravity behind it, which I personally believe it does, this shit's going to get worse. And we need to start preparing our kids and teaching our kids about this stuff early and saying, hey, this is what can happen. So what do you guys think? I want to know what you guys think. Am I completely in the wrong here, or does my argument hold water? My mustache holds water, because this is South Dakota, man. There's so many stereotypes about our state, and you want to know what? You go around. I've been around. I've moved. I've lived in a lot of different states and a lot of different places, and I tell you what, man. There's so many stereotypes about South Dakota people being stupid hillbillies, and it's like, the more and more I live here, it's like the percentage of that being true kind of goes up a notch every once in a while. And it's ridiculous, man. We gotta start thinking smart here, people. And not just South Dakotans, everybody. If it's a hurricane outside, you're going to dress appropriately, or you're not going to go outside, or what have you. Things need to change. We need to start, the schools need to start coming down on these people and saying, well, maybe not coming down on them, but, I think the schools need to start stepping in and saying, look, we could be sued for this, maybe not even talking lawsuit. I know that a school does not want a child's health crisis on their hands. I know that a school does not want that to be their fault. A school does not want to sit there and say, we had a fire drill, and because we allow our children to wear whatever the hell they want, my kids can't go to school and play on the playground without wearing snow pants and coats and boots and hats and gloves. And that is perfectly fine with me. But then there's days when it's like they're not allowed to play on the playground even though there's no snow. And they're not wearing their stuff, but it's still cold outside, but the school's still saying you still need to have the appropriate gear on. Why is it different between elementary school kids and high school kids? You're trying to instill that in the elementary school kids early, but then when they get to high school, it's like, screw them. I don't know. I just think that we need to start teaching our children a little bit better, and the school needs to start taking a stance for saying, hey, let's be a school here. Let's teach the right thing. And that is to make sure that your kids are dressed appropriately when you come to school, because it makes my kids come home and be like, why do I have to wear that? Because I'm not a moron. Okay. Because I care about my child going to school and what they go to school in. And like I said, there are those kids out there that just go against everything that their parents say, and there's nothing that their parents can do, and I feel for those parents. There's parents out there that don't give a shit. There's parents out there that be like, when I was a kid, they walked to school, and you could walk in shorts and shit, and shut the frick up. Like, holy smokes, dude. But then there's some of us who are just like, hey, you need to dress appropriately. You need to dress for what you need to do. And my kids know that. My kids don't come home and say, oh, Dad, why do I have to? Because they know. Because I tell them, But to all those people out there, all those parents that can't control their children, or the parents that don't give a shit or anything, that's why I think we need to have the school step in and start saying, if your child is going to come to school and it's negative 20 degrees outside and we're having school today, your child needs to be dressed for negative 20. Because what if there's a fire drill or anything to where, what if all of a sudden all the power goes out and you're just stuck there in shorts and a t-shirt? You need to have backup plans, man. You need to think about the consequences of it. The school needs to think about the consequences of it, and the adults in the situation need to think about the consequences of it. And most importantly, our children need to start thinking about the consequences of their actions in the future of what could happen if I do this. Okay, I'm going to go to school without a coat or anything else like that on. I'm going to go to school in tennis shoes, ankle socks, athletic shorts, and a t-shirt. What could happen? What could happen here? And if they still want to do that, then at least put it in your backpack. Take it along with you. But up here, we need to start dressing appropriately for everything, guys. That's what we need to do. We need to start making sure that these kids are dressed for the weather. Because then we're going to start seeing a decline in all the kids that come to school sicker than shit, and all the parents that become sicker than shit because their kids are going to school in a petri dish of sickness and illness and grossness. Because you got all the anti-vaxxers out there too, man, that don't vaccinate their kids and everything, and that's just puts those kids in even more danger, puts other kids in danger. So I'm not even going to get into the anti-vaxxer thing. I honestly don't know enough about it to get into it, but I just the little bit that I know about it, to sit there and say, okay, there are terrible things out there that there's vaccinations for. I have to take vaccinations to work where I work, and you don't want to get tuberculosis or something that was wiped out years ago because of vaccinations, but you don't want to give that to your kid. I don't know. There's a lot of back and forth with that. We'll leave that for another episode. We're going to get going here. Like I said, hit us up. Let me just make sure I got all this information correct because I just kind of started making this stuff. We got, this is the Dakota Podcasting Experience. And our email address is DakotaPodcasting@gmail.com. Hit us up on Twitter @DakotaPodcast. My name's Tony Tubes. And I am your host of this podcast. Thank you very much for joining me, and I'll see you on the next episode. Let me know what you guys want to talk about, what you want to hear my thoughts on. If you think that I'm a complete and total idiot for saying what I was saying, let me know, everything like that. I want to get a dialogue started about this stuff. I want people to care about this because it's stupid to see kids walking around in negative temperatures in shorts and T-shirts. And our school systems up here need to start cracking down on that if parents can't, or won't. So you guys have a good one. This is the Dakota Podcasting Experience, 2/27/19, 3:21 p.m. I got to go get the kids from school.